Tonight on News 5 Live, a 56-year-old Santa Familia resident is hacked to death inside a wooden house in Secauts. His lifeless body was found this morning. The court sets fixed sentences for a number of murder convicts who are behind bars without the possibility of parole. The case against Leon Gentle for the beating of Vitalino Reyes Jr. crashes in the court 7 years after the violent incident. There's a 20% chance of a weather system forming off the east coast of Nicaragua in the days ahead. Chief Meteorologist Catherine Cumberbatch explains what this may mean for Belize. Will hemp be the next big thing in Belize? Hemp advocates want you to know the facts. Details of these stories and more coming up in tonight's newscast. Good evening. Welcome to News 5 Live for Friday, October 11th. I am Charlie Hutchinson. A shocking discovery was made this morning just after 8 o'clock in the village of Sacuts, located near Benca Viejo del Carmen. The lifeless body of a 56-year-old man was found and identified as that of Juan de la Cruz Carias. The construction worker met a gruesome and brutal death. He was chopped and stabbed and his body found inside a wooden bungalow house far from where he lives in Santa Familia. Those who know de la Cruz are left stunned. News 5's Duane Moody reports.
Early this morning, a gruesome discovery was made inside a wooden house in the village of Sacuts in the Cayo district. Police were called to the scene of a homicide. 56-year-old Juan de la Cruz Carias was found dead in a pool of his blood. De la Cruz had multiple chop wounds to the back of his head. He also had been stabbed 4 times to the back and once to the left ear. The discovery was made around 8 o'clock and residents in the area soon after gathered to find out what happened.
Everybody getting around there and I didn't know what happened, so I asked by curiosity and they told me they killed somebody. But I didn't know exactly who, since a couple lived there, Guatemaltecans, young very couple with a young baby. And at the same time, we thought maybe the husband of the young girl killed another guy or something, maybe something went wrong, or we didn't know because they always kept themselves closed, the house locked.
The deceased man was found dressed in long jeans pants, shirtless, and had on a pair of brown boots. De la Cruz worked in construction and lived in Santa Familia Village, Cayo district.
A few minutes ago, I heard it's somebody from Santa Familia, and my husband called me and told me it's one of his friends, which we called him Johnny in English. And I told him, you gotta be crazy because it can't be him. What would he be doing here this morning or last night? I don't know when he was killed. So I couldn't believe it. And so another friend just came to tell me the same thing, that one of his friends also told him the same thing. Then I got to ask a neighbor to tell me exactly what was the name that they had mentioned in Facebook earlier. And when I heard the name, and I said that is his name.
Residents say a young couple had only been renting the house for about 4 to 6 months. They didn't socialize much in the village and were very private with their lives. So when Elisa Guerra Shij says she heard that her husband's very good friend was the victim, she was in disbelief. Family and friends, as well as authorities, are trying to figure out what De La Cruz was doing, not only in the village, but inside that house where he did not socialize. I understand that he was chopped and stabbed. Like, at any point, I know he was close to your family, to your husband. At any point, did he complain any at all of having problems with anybody or anything like that?
Well, no.
He didn't live here?
No. That's why we were so surprised that he does not live here, and from Santa Familia, what would he be doing here?
First with those at that house, because it's not known that he knows those people.
Yes, surprisingly, we didn't expect something like that.
Duane Moody for News 5.
A salesman from Cayo is in big trouble with the law tonight. That is because his boss, also from Cayo, is reporting that he stole more than $70,000 worth of Rufo dog food. It all came to light when another employee informed the owner of Recinos that while selling the dog food to a business on October 7th, he learned that another salesman from the same company was selling the product at lower prices. Recinos conducted an audit of the sales of Rufo dog food products, which showed there was a shortage of $72,998 from one of his salesmen. Police are investigating. A hasty land transaction that appears questionable to many in Belmopan is raising eyebrows and causing outrage. A few weeks ago, the Belmopan City Council gave the order to de-reserve a large portion of land along the Philip Goldson Boulevard. The The land was reserved for expansion of the boulevard, but the council decided to survey and divide the land into 28 residential lots. But as soon as that was completed, the lots were sold off to new owners for a paltry sum. The price tag for one of the residential lots is $1,000. In fact, the transaction from application to title was done in a flash and took only 1 day. The new landowners were recommended by the Belmopan City Council. Residents of the area are upset with Mayor Khalid Bilal for doing away with the expansion of the boulevard. They are asking him to share details on how many City Council lands have been issued out and to whom. The mayor was unavailable for comment today. He is also facing questions in respect of the hilltop property of the Public Service Union, which was sold off to Simplex Designs Limited. The PSU this week said it is heading to court to challenge the sale. Coming up, no need to panic, says the folks at the Met, in respect of a system that may form in Central America.
Hello, friends. This is Dr. Bob Roberts with another 60-second sermon.
There is no need to panic at this point, says the National Emergency Management Organization. Out of precaution, NEMO issued an advisory earlier today informing that it is monitoring the potential for development of a broad low-pressure area near Belize. The system, should it form over the weekend, is expected to move westward toward Central America early next week. The chances of it forming over the next 48 hours, however, is 0%. So what does this mean for us here in Belize? That's what Chief Meteorologist Catherine Cumberbatch explained to News 5 earlier today, emphasizing that there is absolutely no need for alarms as the models are being monitored closely for any development. She begins with the weekend weather forecast.
First of all, right now at present we have a weak tropical wave that is affecting the country. As I said, weak, and that will cause a few showers and thunderstorms to affect the country. As for tomorrow, Saturday, we are going again for a few showers and thunderstorms to affect mainly the southern part of the country, some coastal areas, and inland part of the country. That is the weather for Saturday. And our extended forecast is going for shower activity to be generally isolated, showers and thunderstorms to be generally isolated over the country.
There is an expectation based on the forecast that an area of low pressure can form near Nicaragua. Can you explain to us what that is and if there's any significance for Belize?
Okay, we saw from the National Hurricane Center, they usually issue their report and their outlook for the next 5 days that broad area of low pressure is expected to develop near the east coast of Honduras and Nicaragua. They only given that a very low chance, which is 20%. That is just what the forecasting models are showing, that a system is likely to develop near the east coast of Honduras and Nicaragua going in over the weekend and could probably become something during the coming week. As you know, our job here is to monitor all systems, especially this time of the year, which we are in the hurricane season. And when you look at the zone where the models are projecting that if something should form, should be east of, we should be even more concerned. So that is all the concern about.
According to the NEMO advisory, should the prediction change for the worse, all factors considered, Belize can be facing a significant threat by Tuesday. Nonetheless, Chief Met Officer Cumberbatch reiterated that nothing has formed thus far.
No system have formed so far. There is no tropical depression, there is no tropical storm, there is no hurricane that formed. Models are only saying what are projecting that a system is likely to develop near the east coast of Honduras and Nicaragua by weekend and could probably become something in the coming week. It has a very low chance, 20%. I repeat again, there is no system at this time that pose no threat to Belize. There is no tropical depression, there is no tropical storm, there is no hurricane. The models, these are things that project long-term condition, and it's saying that there is only a 20% chance that something can develop off the east coast of Honduras and Nicaragua by weekend. The National Emergency Management Organization have their own tasks. And their task is also to alert the people. Look, this is what something is likely to happen. So Belizeans, we are in the hurricane season. Don't get too relaxed. Get your hurricane plan in order. Get what you need, the hurricane plan in order. So if something arises, you will be better prepared to handle it and move forward.
Public officers are advised to be prepared for possible NEMO emergency duties early next week. Everyone else is advised to use the weekend to prepare and review family emergency plans. Leslie Pipersberg and Patrick Robotics are two convicts who have now been given a fixed sentence for a double murder. Both received a sentence of 35 years, less 10 years already served, leaving the duo to serve 25 more years to take effect from April 2011, the date when they were convicted of the double murder of Fidel May and Kevin Alvarez. This morning, Justice Colin Williams, in the presence of their attorney Hector Guerra from Godfrey Smith Chambers in Belize City, explained the new circumstances. The justice referred to new guidelines by the Caribbean Court of Justice in the cases of Alwyn Gabb and Gregory August, in which the CCJ determined that inmates convicted of murder must be given fixed sentences. The justice also revisited the deadly day in June 2002 when Pipersberg and Robotics were convicted of killing two security guards of Bowen and Bowen. In Judge Williams' view, the men acted in a horrific way when there was no provocation, calling the murder a wicked and senseless shooting. He also looked at what the defense asked him to consider, which is that the defendants have reformed and have shown remorse. But Justice Colin Williams also noted that in his view, the actual murder of the security guards was not planned, but the men should have foreseen life would have been lost. Justice Williams took into consideration that at the time of the murder, Robotics was 25 and Pipersberg was 44, and that they still have years ahead to contribute to society. So he handed down a 35-year sentence, less time served. In June 2002, the robbery at Bowen and Bowen Limited escalated into a bloodbath, ending in the death of Alvarez and May. Two city residents, Sherry Tucker and David Flores, were also shot. Pipersberg and Robotics were former employees of the company. At their first trial in 2004, they were found guilty. Their case was later appealed, and it went all the way to the Privy Council, which ordered a retrial. On April 8, 2011, they learnt their fate, not guilty of the murder of Flores and Tucker, but guilty of the murder of May and Alvarez. In related news, Jeremy Harris has also received a fixed sentence. Having served 17 years behind bars, he is looking at 8 years for the murder of Philip Chin in 2002. Wayne Martinez, who was convicted for the murder of Rene Castillo in 2005, is looking at 20 years before he is eligible for parole. In the case of Miguel Herrera, who is convicted for the murder of Myrna Figueroa in 2007, he was sentenced to 35 years before he is eligible for parole. Then there is Philip Tillett, who is behind bars for the 2003 murder of Kirk Gentle. He is looking at 25 years seeking parole. In 2014, Vitalino Reyes Jr. was badly beaten when his father and another well-known operator were having differences in the cave tubing business. The violent incident made the news for days. The heavy competition sparked a huge war between the son and others working for the competing company. Today, the case came crashing down at the Supreme Court when the Crown, represented by Portia Stain Ferguson, was forced to enter a nolle prosequi. It was rejected by the judge, who instructed the jury to find the accused Leon Gentle not guilty of the charges of dangerous harm and use of deadly means of harm, setting him free after 7 years awaiting trial. Gentle was an employee of Yoni Rosado. His trial kicked off on Wednesday. Prosecutor Portia Stain called 6 witnesses to the stand, but her main witness, Yoni Vega, a then tour guide of Cayo district, arrived at court late. This prompted the prosecutor to ask for an adjournment, but it was not granted by Justice Colin Williams. As he left the court, Gentle noted that the victim never made it to court, so he intends to sue. Reyes Jr. was badly beaten and never fully recovered, so the Crown relied heavily on the testimony of Vega, who was also injured during the attack. Vega had identified a man he claimed threw a beer bottle that injured Reyes Jr. as they were leaving Long Island Bar. Several persons were charged and arraigned at the lower court on other charges in connection with the near-deadly attack, but they all saw the charges withdrawn against them. Immigration clerk Sharif Flores escaped a charge today. Another clerk, Ann Smith, pressed charges of harm against Flores, who then entered a counter-charge of common assault against Smith. The charges on both women were dropped when the matter went before Chief Magistrate Sharon Fraser. Fraser advised the women to settle the cases out of court and stressed that they both have important things to lose, including jail time if found guilty. Flores was willing to settle the matter, but Smith was not. Reports are that Smith was being pressured by higher-ups to settle the matter. The women were placed on interdiction after a scuffle broke out between the two parties on March 9, 2019. On that evening, a work van was transporting employees to their respective houses. It is alleged that Flores attacked Smith, saying that Smith's personal belongings were in her way as she was exiting the van. According to reports, the driver of the van had to intervene to remove Flores from on top of Smith, who was pinned between the chairs. Inspector of Police David McCoy was today called to the bar. It is a significant accomplishment for the young officer who says that he is better equipped to serve the police department. McCoy's journey spanned over 8 years from his days at Wesley Junior College to Norman Manley Law School in Jamaica. McCoy says he'll remain at the Belize Police Department in the Research Planning and Legal Affairs Compliance Branch.
Getting to this point, I have to say it is a long journey. Stems back over 8 years from enrolling at the Wesley Junior College paralegal program. I did it for 3 years. I started when I was 22 years old, and so 3 years of that, and then I went to University of the West Indies at Barbados, and I did another 3 years, and I was able to go to Norman Manley for 2 years. So the journey was very hard. There were many sleepless nights, but I had colleagues along with me to, help me along the way. I can bring a lot that is required in the police department. For example, there are many times when we have to deal with internal matters as it relates to police officers, and I'm going to ensure that fairness is adhered to. When we need to take stern approaches, we will, and I am here to assist the Commissioner of Police to further his objective.
After the break, the techie students at the Belize High School are heading to Dubai. They built the Sea Empress and are ready to compete in a global challenge.
Improving lives, delivering quality, water for you and me.
Techie students from the Belize High School are stepping up their game. They are taking part in a global competition in robotics. The students have built a robot aptly called Sea Empress, which has the potential to multitask to clean up litter in the ocean. Teams from close to 200 countries will also be participating in the challenge in Dubai, which exposes the eager students to new opportunities and developments in technology and grows their creativity to be innovative. Here is Isani Cayetano with a report.
A team of students from Belize High School is headed to Dubai in the United Arab Emirates in the days ahead to participate in a global robotics competition. This year, the technology challenge focuses on ocean opportunities, and the kids over at BHS have built a robot that will be deployed to sea to assist in cleaning up marine litter. Team Captain Adrian Fonseca explains.
We are representing Belize in their first global annual challenge hosted in Dubai. We will be going and competing alongside and against 190 other countries. This year's theme is Ocean Opportunities, and our robot will be completing multiple task scoring points and working alliance with 3 other countries.
According to Principal Jamie Usher, the team is inspired by simply being part of Belize's technological evolution. She says gone are the days of just learning the basics of computer technology.
We are motivated by the fact that we are part of the evolution of technology and science in Belize. So first we used to teach IT as a subject. Then we started using IT by bringing in projectors. And then we started using technology with our class. So we would have Google Classroom, Google Drive, different elements. But now, behind me, you've just witnessed where our students are taking technology and engineering and creating, which is really a fantastic transformation when you think about we're no longer teaching what is a mouse, what is a CPU, what is a keyboard. We're actually telling them use everything that has been built up since elementary school and create something that can solve a problem.
This afternoon, the team called on Prime Minister Dean Barrow at his Belize City office to show off Sea Empress. While our cameras were not allowed inside the building, Chahat Chawla told us that the PM was quite impressed with what they were able to come up with.
We're here today to introduce our robot to Honorable PM and to, show him what we've done, what the challenges are, what the basic just the first global is.
Let's talk about the meeting with the PM. What was his impressions?
He was very impressed. He expressed that he was very proud of us, which made us really happy because we worked really hard on Sea Empress, it's her name. And, well, we are really excited to be representing Belize, and he expressed his excitement as well.
Reporting for News 5, I am Isana Cayetano.
A top-heavy delegation is on a visit to Taiwan, signaling the strength of relations with that country that has been shaken by the loss of 2 allies in recent times. The delegation includes Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Education Patrick Faber, Minister of Tourism and Civil Aviation Manuel Heredia, and Minister of Transport and National Emergency Management Edmund Castro. Aside from holding bilateral meetings, the delegation is there for celebrations relating to Taiwan's National Day. A government release says the ministers met with Belizean students as well as Taiwan's Education Minister Wen Chung-pan and Deputy Minister Mon Chi-liu in respect of the scholarship program through which Belizeans are studying in Taiwanese universities. There were also discussions on the strengthening of the collaboration in digital learning goals. The Taiwanese also recognized Belizean student Wani Morgan for his outstanding academic performance. According to a release, Minister Heredia signed a memorandum of understanding to pursue an air service agreement with Taiwan's Transport and Communications Minister Chia Long-lin. Castro was there for a ride. He took part in an early morning ride with the Giant Bicycle Company along Taiwan's Tamsu River. Aside from the 3 ministers, we note that Ministers Erwin Contreras and Rene Montero were in the Arab Emirates earlier this week. The 6th minister to be away is Foreign Minister Wilfred Ellerington, who we are told is due back on Tuesday. So in the past week, of the total members of cabinet, 6 were overseas. When we come back, paving the way for the production of industrial hemp.
for me has become personal. Personal because throughout my service to this nation, I have had the opportunity to travel to every corner. This journey over the many years has made me see the experience Belize in a way that has drawn out in me the greatest passion to serve. My many visits to our rural and urban communities inspired me to seek the highest office in this land, where I can make the greatest impact. I have listened to people, I have heard their stories, I have shared in their distress, I have celebrated with them their successes, and they have helped me to understand what is required to lead this party and indeed to lead this nation. My engagement with you, the people of this country, over the many years has stirred in me the greatest desire to move things forward, to build on the successes we have had so far. My grand goal now, if you will have me, is to continue this transformation into what will be the new Belize.
With over 100 years of service excellence in Belize, the Belize Bank Limited recognizes the importance of leading the way as we enter into this fast-growing technological world. Our Belize Bank mobile banking app virtually places a number of banking capabilities in the palm of our customers' hands, anytime, anywhere, through the use of their Android or iOS devices. The Belize Bank, delivering a convenient and enhanced banking experience to meet the demands of our customers' digital lifestyle. The Belize Bank, our country, your bank.
For those who like to have unlimited options in life, don't let limits hold you back.
Prepaid and hybrid customers can go unlimited with Smart's Unlimited Daily Pass. You can purchase an unlimited talk and text pass now for only $1.99 to talk and text as much as you want for 24 hours.
To purchase an unlimited talk and text pass, call 8654. Unlimited possibilities with Smart. Prices are exclusive of GST. Smart, your full-service telecom provider.
As one of the largest cable and internet providers in Belize, CBC strives to provide our customers with the highest standards of quality, value, and service in all aspects of cable TV and internet. Monitoring our systems closely, our technicians combine creative planning and state-of-the-art technology with years of experience and training to develop and provide the most reliable and advanced cable and internet service to exceed your expectations. For CBC and our team of talented engineers, technicians, and customer service representatives, delivering less than the very best is never an option.
KTV Latino. In this season of KTV Latino, you can vote for your favorite contestant by using your Digiphone or your smartphone. Digi users will text only the contestant's number and send to 5888. Each text sent is equal to 1 vote, so text as many times as you want. Smart users will text the number of votes followed by a space, then the contestant's number and send to 5885. Here are this week's contestants.
¿Y para qué sufrir? ¿Para qué? Si así es la vida.
Borracha y apasionada, no más por tu amor.
Ojalá pudiera devolver el tiempo para verte de nuevo. Mátalas con flores, con canciones, no les falles.
Te esperaré, bandido, tu corazón y el mío tienen algo.
Yo sé que en el amor soy un farsante. Yo sin ti no vuelvo a enamorarme, bebé. Hacer
¿Cómo sucedió que el destino de tus brazos me arrancó?
¿Cómo decirle que te amo si me ha preguntado? De aquel amor en música ligera.
Remember, voting ends on Sunday at midnight. KTV Latina Season 4. It's hot, it's live, and it's only on 5.
KTV Latino.
Belize will soon see the establishment of industrial hemp production. The Attorney General's ministry has been working on the legal framework that will help to regulate the industry. But hemp, like its relative marijuana, is not without controversy. Some quarters believe that hemp, like marijuana, may have negative effects on humans, but supporters of the hemp plant say that is not so. In fact, they argue that there is a growing demand for hemp products. Reporter Andrea Polanco tells us more in the following story.
Hemp, like marijuana, comes from the cannabis family of plants. This, according to hemp proponents and researchers, makes it a misunderstood plant. Cannabis contains a type of chemical called tetrahydrocannabinol, or THC. This THC has a number of effects on the body, including psychoactive effects, meaning it gets you high. So people often believe that, like marijuana, hemp can make you high. But hemp only contains 0.3% of the THC, whereas marijuana can contain from 5 to 35% of THC. So one hemp advocate wants to educate Belizeans about this plant.
A lot of people that is misinformed about this indigenous plant that is helping so many people in the health industry, not to get high industry. Right? And there's two different types of industries we're talking about here.
In Belize, it is legal to plant hemp, and in the coming years, it is expected to become an industry, as laws will be put in place to regulate industrial hemp production. It will be a business that, according to Prime Minister Dean Barrow, where even small-scale hemp farmers will be able to reap the benefits.
A bright spot is certainly going to be the start of the new hemp industry. Not marijuana, Mr. Leader, hemp. Global fascination with hemp, thought by so many to contain almost magical healing properties. There's a global belief in these magical properties of hemp. And so that means that our country, with ideal growing conditions, will be excellently positioned to take advantage of the limitless world market. It is a market for the export of both raw hemp and the hemp-based medicinal products that so many foreign investors are lined up to manufacture in our country. And in furtherance of this administration's gospel, we have ensured that the little man, the small farmer, is not going to be left behind. Thus, licenses will be given to growers that wish to cultivate as little as 1 acre.
The hemp plant is being used across the world for a range of purposes, including clothing, food, beauty, fuel, biodegradable products, health, and industrial items. Hemp research sites say that there are thousands of commodities and household items made from hemp, unlike marijuana. Marijuana, which is often referred to as hemp's cousin, is just used for medicinal and recreational purposes, and because of the THC, marijuana is used for smoking, vaping, or in edibles. Kaden Chacham shares some of the many applications of the hemp plant.
One of the great advantages and the great benefits of this plant is that nothing actually goes to waste, literally. Nothing goes to waste. The hemp plant produces seeds that are rich in, that has been used for food and cultivated and harvested for food since the beginning of time. It's rich in omega-3s, amino acids, protein, and fiber. The actual fiber or the trash from the plant is used to make rope, biodegradable plastics, clothing. There's building material called hempcrete. There's CBD oil. There's biofuel. There's a myriad amount of uses for this plant.
And because of the increasing applications of this plant, as well as the demand for the products, the Caribbean is also interested in looking into what this industry can do for the region.
Hemp, on the other hand, it presents an opportunity for us in a very unique way. Our traditional crops are experiencing some challenges now, and hemp uses a large amount of land. So we need to now look, what are the real opportunities that can be had from that? And in particular, the larger member states that has the landmass, so we talk about Suriname, we talk about Belize here, and Guyana, how best, and also Jamaica to a lesser extent, how can these member states participate in this growing and new industry?
Reporting for News 5, I'm Andrea Polanco.
Phase 2 of the Biodiversity Finance Initiative, known as BioFin, was launched today. In 2016, the government launched the first phase, which consisted of 4 assessments, such as a policy and institutional review and the financial needs assessment. The second phase aims to provide direction and implementation of identified finance solutions contained within the Biodiversity Finance Plan. Minister of Fisheries, Forestry, the Environment and Sustainable Development, Dr. Omar Figueroa, says that the importance of Belize's natural resources is the foundation, brick and mortar, of Belize's development has long since been recognized.
The plan speaks as to what we need to do to really secure the long-term biodiversity that we have in this country. As you know, biodiversity, not only does it underpin our economy, but it really also underpins the health and the safety of the Belizean people. So it is extremely important. In the first phase of the Biodiversity Finance Initiative, I think the team identified gaps and potential mechanisms to really that would allow biodiversity on a national level to really finance itself in terms of protection and long-term sustainability. The Biodiversity Finance 2, the launch that we're seeing here today, is actually one step farther now to really looking at the mechanisms that we need to really implement the entire Biodiversity Finance Initiative, to make sure that we secure the resources, identify the resources that we need to actually implement the biodiversity strategy and action plan.
Coming up after the break, the Guatemalan president says relations with Belize are the best ever.
Do more this October with our spooktacular next-gen deals. Enjoy 1 month free on any of our services and get
Latino.
In this season of KTV Latino, you can vote for your favorite contestant by using your Digiphone or your smartphone. Digi users will text only the contestant's number and send to 5888. Each text sent is equal to 1 vote, so text as many times as you want. Smart users will text the number of votes followed by a space then the contestant's number and send to 5885. Here are this week's contestants.
¿Y para qué sufrir? ¿Para qué? Si así es la vida.
Borracha y apasionada, no más por tu amor.
Ojalá pudiera devolver el tiempo para verte de nuevo.
Mátalas con flores, con canciones, no les falles.
Te esperaré, bandido, tu corazón y el mío tienen algo.
Yo sé que en el amor soy un farsante. Yo sin ti no vuelvo a enamorarme, bebé. Hacer el amor con otro. No, no, no.
No entiendo cómo sucedió que el destino de tus brazos me arrancó.
¿Cómo decirle que te amo? Se me ha preguntado.
De aquel amor en música ligera.
Remember, voting ends on Sunday at midnight. KTV Latina Season 4. It's hot, it's live, and it's only on 5.
KTV Latino.
Making proper use of technology, the Port of Belize Limited has added more features to their arsenal of upgrades. A port with a global perspective.
Guatemalan President Jimmy Morales addressed the general debate at the 74th General Assembly of the United Nations earlier this month for the last time before demitting office. The outgoing Guatemalan president spoke on the relations between Guatemala and Belize. That issue also formed part of the presentation by Foreign Minister Wilfred Elrington. Elrington told the world body of the incidents along the border involving Guatemalans. But Morales told the UN General Assembly that diplomatic relations between both countries are the best they have ever been. Morales begins speaking about the recently held referendum to take Guatemala's claim to the International Court of Justice. He says that this was a milestone, as taking the matter to an international court for final determination is the peaceful way. Morales stated that dialogue is the basis of true democracy.
In our foreign policy, Guatemala and Belize have concluded a peaceful process to submit the territorial, island-related, and maritime claims of Guatemala to the International Court of Justice. This is a milestone for Guatemala, for Central America, and for the world, which has led to a peaceful and definitive solution to this long-standing dispute for Guatemala and Belize. The people of Guatemala and the people of Belize held their referendum in peace, and the results were positive, and expressed a wish to resolve once and for all this dispute in the International Court of Justice. Currently, bilateral relations between Guatemala and Belize are the best they've ever been, and we are decided to continue strengthening this relationship. I would like to express my deep and sincere gratitude to the group of friends of Guatemala and Belize who have supported this process, where the focus is on dialogue, because dialogue is the basis of true democracy.
Morales devoted much of his speech and time bashing the United Nations-backed International Commission Against Impunity in Guatemala, CICIG. Last year, President Jimmy Morales did not approve the renewal of the mandate and expelled the commissioners of the CICIG, which has brought down a Guatemalan president and vice president, as well as other high-ranking officials. The commission was established in 2006 to help combat impunity and corruption. Morales began waging a campaign against CICIG in 2017 after the commission opened an investigation into the president, his brother, and son. That war continued on the world stage of the UN General Assembly, where Morales accused the CICIG of undermining his governance of his country.
It did not respect the laws of our country. It weakened the autonomy of our institutions. It put at risk social peace, and it undermined the governance of our country. However, what's the most saddest and worrying is that it did this with the consent of the United Nations, and it did it under the facade of combating corruption and impunity, which gave it the ideal narrative to politicize justice and to condemn our politics. And we, Guatemalans, will not allow it. We didn't allow it because we are a free, sovereign, and independent country since 1821. And when we speak of independence and sovereignty, I would like to inform this General Assembly that while the mandate of the Commission has ended, the consequences of its actions should be investigated thoroughly.
And that's the news. Don't forget that tonight's broadcast is available in both text and streaming video at channel5belize.com. You can also connect with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/News5Live. I'm Charlie Hutchinson. Thanks for joining us. And from all of us here at News 5, have a happy and safe weekend. Good night.